Welcome back to the channel. This is the Action Figure Grader, and today's video is going to cover only Trilogos, one of my favorite types of card backs to collect. I think I've got about 30 of them now, and this is the way eBay and how the market works sometimes. You could be waiting forever to find the exact Trilogo that you've been looking for 2 years, and then they all hit at once. It was just a absolute nightmare for Trilogo collector wallets last night, which is August 4th, because there were a ton of awesome ones. And I included some from the last week or so as well to kind of fill this video out. But these are all Trilogos, and some of the prices were pretty incredible, both on the affordability side, and then others went for like 2 or 3 times what I was expecting them to go for. Just absolutely crazy, the action on eBay last night. I did win quite a few of them, so I'm very excited about it. My PayPal credit is back up to uncomfortable levels, so I am not going to be buying anything for quite a while. I'm going to have to sell off a few items as well, just to make space for some of these that I picked up. Some of them were upgrades, some of them were new ones that I've been looking for. Some of them I wanted to bid on, but a lot of you contacted me ahead of time and said, I'm bidding on this, and so I didn't feel appropriate competing against you. Some of you I competed against you anyway by accident. So let's go ahead and dig in. We're going to start off, I think it's only 3 different sellers that sold all of these. There's like 30 of them here. We're going to start off with Gold Star Tech, which is one of my new favorite sellers on eBay for both graded and ungraded items. He had some Trilogos that have sold over the last week. First was an Emperor, and this one was probably about 75 grade condition. It had some obvious dimpling to the top of the blister. That one sold for $159.50, which I thought was a pretty good deal, and I think we've got a graded one coming up. Here was an ungraded Squid Head that sold for $120.50, a very common one, not hard to find, not particularly sought after. I think I bought a UKG 80% for about 175 bucks last year. And this one, again, was ungraded, probably has an outside chance at an 80 grade, $120.50 on that one. They had a Lobot, which I would say is probably either a 75 plus or an 80. Some light creasing to the card back probably holds it back to a 75 or 75 plus, but overall good shape. Kind of tough to find this one. $175.50 I thought was a really great deal relative to what I paid for mine. I bought an AFA 80 for like 500 bucks. I knew I was overpaying for it, and this further proves that I was overpaying for it, given that this one's got the outside chance at an 80 grade. Next up was Admiral Akbar, and probably about a 75 grade. Had some card edge wear and some moderate dimpling to the blister. These blisters are super fragile, so it's really hard to find one ungraded that is really clean. You can see also a color breaking crease on the back side of the card back. That one sold for $355. Admiral Akbar is just a really tough one to find, surprisingly, on the Trilogo card back, and one I'm still looking for in high grade. Rebel Commando, the indoor Rebel Commando, is another tough one to find. This is probably about a 75, and it was also a yellowed blister. You can see the yellowing to the blister, some light edge wear to it. That one sold for $160.58, which, you know, again, it had some creases on the back. You can see the crease goes all the way across the card back there, and so probably holds it back to about a 70 grade, maybe 75 if you're lucky. But 160 was about right, I think. In higher grade, $450 all day long. So that was a pretty good deal there. This is one I was tempted to bid on, but my hands were juggling a number of other auctions that were all ending at the same time, so I stayed away from it. This was Tebow unpunched. I think it probably gets the 80 grade. It looks like it might be slightly yellowed. It's hard to tell for sure. It did have like a little kind of indentation on the top right hand side of the card. It was unpunched though. I think it probably gets a 75 plus, but it gets a low chance at probably an 80 grade. You can see also some light dimpling to the top of the blister on that one. So $127.50 is a pretty good deal though, because Tebow's another kind of tougher one to find. It's not as hard as Akbar or Lobot, but it's probably the next step down. Here was a Ramba. This was obviously a yellowed blister, unpunched with the price sticker. That one sold for $227.50. All very reasonable prices for mint on card ungraded examples. This was a nice one that was graded AFA 80. This is the ADAC Commander, and this one had the Spanish PBP figure inside. You can see the very pale face there on that one. It did have a pretty pronounced dimple on the top of the blister, but the graders took mercy. 80, 75, 80 were the sub scores on that one. And a buddy of mine, I had this one actually in a snipe setup for like $300, and then a buddy of mine said he wanted it, so I took my snipe off. I just don't think it was appropriate to bid against friends where possible. And in this case, he got a really good deal, I think, at $270. I would have paid that in a heartbeat. So that's one I already have a CAS 75 plus Hong Kong version of the figure. So I thought I'd either pair it with this one or I'd sell off the Hong Kong and keep the Spanish PvP. But it was not meant to be. I'm glad that my buddy got it for the price he did. Here was an AFA 85 Lumat. This one sold for a song and a dance. This is a different seller. The Biker Scout Bunker. This is Matt G. Matt, a buddy of mine that had a number. Matt S. Excuse me, not Matt G. He had a number of Trilogos at auction, and I did win 3 of them. But this is one I've got in an AFA 80. This was an AFA 85 that sold for less than what I paid for my AFA 80. So this was a really good deal for Lumat. AFA 85, absolute stonking good deal. And this one did not have any torso discoloration either. So really good deal at that, 173.05. This is one I did buy. This is one I did pick up. It hasn't arrived yet, but Matt has said he's going to pack them really carefully. But AFA 85 Chief Chirpa. I did not have Chief Chirpa in my collection on the Trilogo card back. $265.45. Very happy with that price for an AFA 85. So excited about that one. Lando, this was an AFA 75. I would actually argue this is in better shape than my AFA 80. But this one got the 75 grade. $255 on that one. And here is that graded Emperor. It was graded AFA 80. That one sold for $332.62. Pretty nice example there, and probably about right. Here's one that we're still trying to figure out why it sold so high. This is 8D8 on the Trilogo card back, graded AFA 80. And one of my buddies was after this one because he's got a Jabba's henchman and Jabba's dungeon, Jabba's palace kind of focus. And he's like, where should I bid on it? And I was like, honestly, I wouldn't bid higher than $350. I just would be shocked if it went higher than that. He bid like $430, and he still lost it. It sold for $432.62. So again, I don't know why it sold so high. It was unpunched with no price sticker, but you know, this is a fairly common one, I feel like. But you know, it doesn't come up that much, but I've seen them in very high grade sell on Facebook for like 150 pounds. $200. You know, it's just really shocking that this one sold for the price it did. But unfortunately for him, he did not win that one. But that one did sell for $432.62. Here's one I did bid on and lose, and this is the Gamorrean Guard, graded AFA 80. This one sold for $451, and it wasn't perfect, so I didn't want to go too high on it. I thought it was maybe a little overgraded. You can see in the upper left-hand corner on the back of the card, it had a pretty pronounced crease on it. That's a good angle there. It really shows the crease on it. So I thought it was a little bit overgraded for a card score of 80. Is it still an AFA 80? It's debatable. You know, they had a lot of rippling to the blister on it. It is a really big blister, and it is tougher to find in a high grade. But I personally thought it was overgraded. So I didn't go nuts on it. I think I bid $450 on it, or $445, somewhere in that ballpark. And I finished second or third. $451.01 was the final sales price on that. Here was Nyan Num AFA 80. I did not bid on this one because, again, this one did have some creases in the upper left-hand corner that you can see there. And again, I'm not criticizing it. I'm just saying that, you know, it got the card score of 80, but this seller had a number of awesome Trilogos all ending at the same time. So I had to pick and choose for my budget, and so I let that one go. And that's one I'm still looking for, is Nyan Num. It was AFA 80. It sold for $455. We documented another one that sold for like $500 or $550. So that seems to be about the going rate, $450 to $550. Here's one I did bid on, and I did win. And it was an AFA 80 Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight, graded AFA 80. Cape off on this one. Now I have a cape on, graded AFA 75 plus, and it has a yellowed blister, unfortunately. So this one is an upgrade for me. It wasn't perfect. It had some scuffing in the upper right-hand corner, but I thought it was enough of an upgrade for my collection to go ahead and pull the trigger, because I get the grade bump from 75 plus to 80, and I get a clear blister versus mine's a yellowed blister. So I paid $567 for it, which is about what I paid for my AFA 75 plus after grading costs and everything. I graded that one myself with AFA. And my buddy Dominic, who has been extremely generous with me lately, he said he wants it, and he said he'd pay for it. And I said, no, if you want it, you got it. I'm going to give it to him, because he's given me so many incredible gifts over the last 6 months. I mean, I can't even put it into words how many amazing gifts he's given me. So I don't feel comfortable taking your money, Dominic. So I'm going to send you my AFA 75 plus with the cape on, and I'll keep this AFA 80 cape off. So I'm very excited to get this one in hand, because it's a nice upgrade for me. Here's the other one I bid on, and I'll show you why when we get to the other Stormtrooper that was in the same grade, but I thought that this one was the better of the two, even though this one had quite a bit of edge wear to it. So you can see on the left-hand side, it's got some white edge wear going all the way up the side of the card, which was a little bit of a negative to me. But I bid on this one and won it because the figure itself was very clean. You know, there's no discoloration to it. So keep that in mind when we get back to the CIB example that also sold on the same night. This was graded AFA 80, 80, 80, 85 for the Stormtrooper, and this is one I've been wanting. So I did win this one. I'm very excited to get this one in hand. But, you know, again, neither one of them were perfect. I would rather have had the card for the CIB example, but the figure for this one. But I had to pick and choose, so I decided on this one. They both sold for almost the exact same price. So that one sold for $677. So I did get that one. Very excited about it. Now on to the CIB Trilogos that also sold on the same night. It was just a Trilogo explosion that sold. I already have a UKG 80 for Squidhead. I think it might be an AFA 80. I can't remember. But anyway, this Squidhead sold for $190.50. I thought that was a pretty good deal on that one. Here is one I did bid on and lose. This was an unpunched Han Solo trench coat. I've probably, over the course of 5 years, I've bid on 6 or 7 Trilogo Han trench coats in my time and lost every single one of them. Because I've got the price in mind as to what I want to bid, and I'm going to have to adjust it, I guess, because I bid $450. I lost it at $460. I might have been $455, somewhere in there. But I finished second, so this one did sell. AFA 80 Trilogo. It was unpunched with no price sticker, so I was kind of dumb. I probably should have bid like $500 on it just to knock it out of the park and get it done. But I did lose that one. But I won some others from CIB that were really nice. Here's Han Solo in this Hoth battle gear. This was an unpunched example that a buddy of mine won. Congrats, Eric, on this one. AFA 80, $590 for an unpunched example with no price sticker. I thought that was very fair. I've got an AFA 85 for Han Solo in Hoth battle gear, and I paid a lot more for mine. I think I paid $650 or $750, somewhere in that ballpark, and that was several years ago as well. So good deal on that one, Eric. Here's a Lumat. This one was graded AFA 80. I don't know why this one sold so high. I paid $375 for mine. This was an AFA 80 and sold for $678. And then going back to the one that Matt had, he had an AFA 80 with no discoloration. No, he had an AFA 85 with no discoloration that sold for $173. I feel bad for Matt because he should have gotten way more money for that one. $173 versus the Lumat that CIB had that was an AFA 80. So a lower grade. It had torso discoloration, and it sold for $678. $678. I have no idea why that one sold so high and why Matt sold so low. It's just crazy how high that one went. Obi-Wan Kenobi sold for $787. This one was an AFA 80. Really nice example there. And then here's the Stormtrooper that I was looking at while I was also looking at Matt's. I like the card better on this one because it didn't have any card edge wear on the left-hand side like the one I won did. But look at the Stormtrooper himself. He's got a lot of pink going on the actual figure. And it got an 85 grade for the figure, which I would argue that's way too high. It's really straight 80s, I think, for this one. And it was nice, and it sold for $635. I paid a little bit more for mine, so I don't know which was the better deal. You could probably argue that this one was the better deal. I think this one is also the German Parker example. It's got the longer, thinner hang tab and a bright yellow on the back, so I'm pretty sure that this is the German Parker Stormtrooper. Versus mine, if I can find it, let's see. I'm sorry, here we go. Yeah, so you can see here that this one's got the wider hang tab on it, and then on the back it's a little bit more faded for the yellow. So I probably could have bought both and had two different variations, but I didn't have enough money to buy both of them. So I got the standard Trilogo, whereas that one that sold was the German Parker version. So that's kind of interesting side note there. Pick your poison. They both sold for about the same price. On to the Hoth Stormtrooper. This is one I really, really desperately wanted, but a buddy of mine said he was bidding on it, and I just felt I had a snipe set up for $900. That's how bad I wanted on this one. And it did sell for $765. So I'm still on the hunt for the Hoth Stormtrooper on the Trilogo card back. Congrats to my buddy who ended up getting that one for $765. That was a steal. I had my snipe set up for $900, and I would have paid that in a heartbeat. 80, 80, 90 were the sub scores on that one. So, oh man, I'm going to be Dominic. I really wanted this one, but I'll get one eventually, but you can't have them all. I got plenty of them. And here's one I did end up upgrading mine for. I got a great deal on this one. So I have no reason to complain. Cry me a river, man. Cause I got a AFA 80 unpunched, no price sticker, no £1 59 pence price sticker Barada for $381. That is a steal, an absolute steal for that one. I have a CAS 75 Plus with the Clipper catalog offer on the back. And so this is just the straight Palitoy with no Clipper offer, and it's AFA 80. 85, 80, 85 were the sub scores unpunched, and I got it for $381. Take my money, yes please. That was a steal of a deal. I will take that. And this one was the first one ending, so I think because it was the first one ending, people didn't want to bid on it. They had so many others that I'm getting ready to show you here in a second that are really hot. So again, cry me a river. I got a great deal on that one. And then here's the other one I did pick up last night. This is the A-Wing Pilot unpunched. It did unfortunately have the £1 59 pence price sticker on it, so that's kind of ugly. But it's another last 17 clear blister AFA 80, 80, 85, 85. So I got two really nice last 17s in addition to the other ones that Matt had at auction. So I went a little nuts. I got 5 different Trilogos in this auction, and I put it all on PayPal credit, and I'm going to spend the next 2 or 3 months paying them off. So no buying for me for a while, and that's okay. I had paid off. I was very good about paying off items. Between this and Hakes, though, I am absolutely underwater now. So I am absolutely done. But that was a really good deal, I thought, as well. Look at the final sales price for this Trilogo Yak Face. $4,250. It was unpunched, no price sticker, clear blister as well. So that was a big one. But, I got one coming back from Certified Link that was an AFA yellowed 80 with the PBP blister. I call it the Meccano overstock blister, but I paid about half the price of what this one went for. This one was obviously better. It was unpunched. I think mine's unpunched as well, but mine had a yellow blister. This one did not, and it sold for $42.50. Absolutely insane price. Now, as insane as this one is, this one takes the cake. This one is the Trilogo Boba Fett. Look at that final sales price. $10,089. Now, for reference, I was thinking about bidding on it if it stayed low, and I would say, forget everything else. I'm going to bid on this one and suck it up. But my top price was nowhere near this. It did have a Clipper catalog offer on the back, so maybe that drove the price a little bit. But I went on Hakes, and I checked out closed listings. Just 2.5 years ago, an AFA 70, the exact same grade that this one sold for, or this one was graded at, an AFA 70 2.5 years ago on Hakes sold for like $2,900. This one sold for $10,000, almost what, 8.5 or what, 8.5, four times, almost 4 times what this one sold for. So that if that doesn't show you the power of the Boba Fett premium, I don't know what does. But, you know, people saying that the market is dead, I mean, this is further proof that there is money out there to be spent on desirable items. And you could maybe make an argument this is also has a yellowed blister. This one has yellowed since grading. You can see the yellowing to the blister on this one. So admittedly, it's Boba Fett on a Trilogo. It's got the Spanish PBP figure inside, but $10,000. I was thinking this one maybe would sell for $4,000 to $4,500. It sold for 10 grand. Absolute insanity. Insane. I think the last two sales prices were insane. This one's not nearly as crazy, but I was thinking max like 3 grand. It sold for $4,250. And then this Boba Fett, I mean, just, I saw the final sales price and I about peed my pants. I cannot believe it sold that high. So anyway, all Trilogos for this video. I hope you enjoyed this look. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll be back soon.